What is up, crypto community? Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me. Ripple hacked for 200 million XRP. And I want to also discuss a big innovation coming to financial settlements in May of 2024 regarding settlement times. All right, we are seeing a little bit of a rally on Bitcoin right above this 42.5K region. And that's the area where I'm looking at bullish versus bearish flip. I think right now it's holding the line. However, if Bitcoin can't hold this 42.5K range, I think we see lower prices. And I covered this yesterday, an EVM sidechain for the XRP ledger. A little bit of clarification. A lot of people have interpreted this as Ripple getting EVM integration. EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. And why is that a big deal? Because Ethereum is so successful because it's the blockchain chosen by developers. And so to get an EVM integration on the XRP ledger, it's good because people can take their skill set from being an Ethereum developer and come over to the XRP ledger where there's faster transaction times, lower fees, and do the same work that they were doing on Ethereum. However, this Ripple developer made a little bit of a clarification. He said it's not exactly an EVM integration. Ripple's proposal involves a distinct blockchain with EVM functionality. So if you're not a blockchain technical expert, like most of us probably aren't, then essentially it does the same thing. The skill set as an Ethereum developer will allow you to work on the XRP ledger. He clarified that this new blockchain is not based on the current protocol, differentiating it from the XRP ledger itself. Now, really quickly before I get into this Ripple hack, if you guys need a spot to get XRP or Flare, I recommend Uphold. It's sleek, it's simple, it's secure. It's where I dollar cost average and get my XRP daily. You can find a link to Uphold in the video description below. And if you want $41 for free, sign up with Webull, deposit 1 penny, and you're guaranteed $41 in free stocks. Sell your stocks, close your account, do whatever you want with that $41, but it's a great offer. You can find that in the video description below. The automated market maker has been approved, and it's coming to the XRP ledger on February 14th. This is a big proposal that passed recently with a vote of 28 yeses and 7 no's and 82% approval rating. And this AMM stands for the automated market maker. Essentially, it provides enhanced trading and liquidity on the XRP ledger. So let's dive into this Ripple hack. Rumors are circulating that Ripple has been hacked for 213 million, and it's already being laundered through a bunch of different exchanges here. Twitter sleuth ZachXBT. This guy's very legit. ZachXBT, he's exposed a ton of scams, so when he tweets about it, you know it's legitimate. Ripple's chairman Chris Larsen said today that his personal accounts were hacked. He said, yesterday there was unauthorized access to a few of my personal accounts. We were so quickly able to catch the problem and notify exchanges to freeze these affected addresses. Law enforcement is already involved. The Ripple chairman didn't comment on the amounts, but per ZachXBT, the breach netted 200 million XRPs worth about $112 million. Now, this is from a founder of Ripple, Chris Larsen. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to these funds. I know they're frozen on exchanges right now. Will they get sent back? That's a hefty amount for him to get hacked. Granted, he still probably has a lot more XRP. But what happens here? Does he get his money back, or does he have to learn a hard lesson the way, I mean, if your XRP got hacked, which a lot of small guys have had their XRP hacked, you don't get it back. So why should this guy get special treatment? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think they're going to give him back his XRP? Or is he going to have it like the rest of us? And a Ripple IPO is something that's discussed often. Ashley Prosper with this good tweet here. There's been a little confusion about what Brad Garlinghouse said on CNBC regarding a Ripple IPO. So here's a segment of the video. Note when he indicates that the company is exploring options outside of the US. So while an IPO may not be coming to a town near you anytime soon, there's not much stopping them from launching in London, except for approval from the Financial Conduct Authority. Same authority that refused to provide me with the communications it had on the SEC and Ripple when I requested it in 2021. Take a listen.
Recently, you may have read we did a tender offer to our shareholders. We've now repurchased over $1 billion of stock from our shareholders. That's something that's important to us, quite frankly, because it is not an immediate term priority to go public. In the United States, trying to go public with a very hostile regulator that has to prove your S1, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. Coinbase obviously had their S1 approved, and now the SEC is suing them for doing things that was outlined in their S1. Now, that, as I mentioned, there's a hearing tomorrow in the U.S. about some of that, but I think it's indicative of why would we want to subject ourselves to an SEC that is openly hostile to this industry.
So in terms of an IPO, an exit of some sort, is that sort of parked to the side at this point?
Yeah, I mean,
or are you looking elsewhere, outside the U.S. for a listing?
I mean, yes to all of those. Okay. I don't think about an IPO as an exit. I think about an IPO as a step in the journey. Shareholder liquidity is important to me. We have investors that first invested in Ripple in 2012. So they've been in this deal for 11 and a half years. And so we want to provide that liquidity, which is one of the reasons why we've done these tender offers and now repurchased over $1 billion of stock. We have looked at other jurisdictions that have clearer rules of the road. But honestly, a lot of people go public because they need to raise capital. Yeah. Ripple's not really in a place where we need to raise capital. And so it is not a short-term priority. We're obviously keeping that option open, and we'll evaluate it as time continues. And we'll evaluate it again as we have new regulators sitting at the United States SEC.
And I guess some of it's market.
So Ripple doesn't need to go public. A lot of companies do go public for funding, but Ripple said many times they have $1 billion in cash, so it's not a big necessity for them. And when you talk about financial hubs, London is probably the biggest financial hub in the world, and there's already more regulatory clarity in the UK than there is in the USA. Now, it doesn't make any sense to why the USA would want to push a company like Ripple outside of the USA. However, I think that's where they will go public, London, unless something transformational happens in the USA in the short term. So I want to talk about the T+1 settlement. On February 15, 2023, the SEC adopted final requirements for a May 28, 2024 implementation date for the move to T+1 settlement for transactions in U.S. cash equities, corporate debt, and unit investment trusts. Essentially what this means is the standard settlement cycle for most trades and securities will shorten from 2 days after the date to 1 day after the date. So if you've ever sold a stock and tried to transfer that money to a bank account, there's a 2-day, 48-hour settlement after you make that stock trade. Essentially, this will improve it to 1 day. Why are they doing this? Well, obvious reasons. And the same thing that backs up Ripple's competitive advantage as to why XRP has a lot of benefits for the market. The expected benefit of a shorter settlement cycle is to reduce counterparty risk and increase overall market efficiency. Now, just imagine once they find out about instantaneous settlement. And this clip here is from an XDC developer, really smart guy, goes by Coin Club Quincy on Twitter, talking with Andre Casterman about this T1 to T2 settlement and the implications of it.
You stated a little bit earlier in the conversation, some settlement times for assets could be 3 days, 5 days with the weekend included, maybe like 48 hours if you're really lucky. But what if you could have that settlement in seconds or even minutes or something? All that capital that would have been locked up, frozen up in transit, it relieves a lot of friction to where people can actually have access to their capital.
Yeah, and that's a key priority for regulators. Also on the US side, it's called T+1. But should be T+0 actually in the securities world, settlement of securities trades. And I don't know the latest about it, but basically if you look at Europe, the regulators are working on the payment services regulation, PSR, where instant payments will be mandated. That includes, you just mentioned, weekends. Indeed, banking services are closed during the weekend. You can just consult, read, not write, not instruct. At least not instruct for immediate processing. But this is changing in Europe with the payment services regulation that will mandate the use of the provision of instant payments 24/7, weekends included, to the consumer and corporate market. So this is European regulation, nothing to do with trading. It's purely for payments, but the beauty of having regulators, they can force the market to do something that might not be commercially attractive for banks, but that is very attractive for the end users, indeed.
That is awesome. Hold on, I wrote something down I wanted to ask you. Oh, actually, yeah. So I wanted to ask you a quick question. Mostly because I want to understand your perspective and how you see this. What are the significance of MT103 and the ISO 20022 standards? I know there's standards in. I know the MT03 is a Swift standard, but I know there's a set of ISO standards for message formatting. Can you like elaborate a little bit on just the significance of that? Just because it's like a topic that always comes up in the space a bit, and I figured you'd have a bit more of a professional background to address it.
Yeah. First time I discovered this was 25 years ago. We first talked about it when I was at Swift about ISO 222 and XML in 1999 at Cybers in München, Germany. And look, 25 years later, it starts to be mandated to the market. Well, the European regulators have mandated for some pieces already now, about 10 years ago, but it's taking time. So does it do is that it's actually using the XML message formatting technology. So it's just a syntax to identify the different fields in a message or in a file. It's using the XML technology, which was invented by the IT world, whereas Swift. When Swift was created, all of this was not so obvious, so Swift created everything by themselves. They created their own syntax with the MT101, MT103, MT940, and so on. So that's a proprietary Swift syntax that is being abandoned more and more, but not completely, only in certain markets like payments and cash management, in order to move to the XML industry standard way to identify fields. So XML is a syntax. It's a bit like HTML for web pages. It's just a technical syntax. ISO 222 is a library of all the messages for financial services. Many institutions can create ISO 222 messages. Swift is the registration authority. And that creates more structure in the message, but more complexity as well, because there are so many optional fields that corporates and banks can start using the messages in different ways. So it lowers the level of standardization in a way, because there are many more options than on the MT side. So it's just a syntax. I know that ISO 22 is kind of a big thing in crypto, like this token is ISO, this one is not. Just take it as just take the analogy of HTML for web pages. If tomorrow the industry says, oh, on the web we're going to move from HTML to something else, well, the whole industry will adapt. But it's kind of a hidden technique to structure data.
Yeah, it's like I don't know how many people watching are familiar with this, but it's like it's no different than like some JSON data, except it's just like that schema you were talking about. So all these different organizations are on the same page when they receive this data. They receive it in the schema, and they're able to do whatever they like with it. But yeah, I always try to tell people, I'm like, from my understanding, it just seems like a formatting standard, a schema that everyone abides by. So when they send messages back and forth to each other, they can account for it accordingly.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching today's video. If you guys like daily crypto updates, subscribe to the channel. Until next time.